I think I was 15 when I started smoking, and I remember my first cigarette, and it tasted awful. It tasted horrendous. But then I suppose everyone's first cigarette does, and I think then that's the trick, isn't it? Because you think, oh, this is horrible. This is making me gag. I could never get addicted to this. But then, of course, you do. For me, it was a routine thing. It was a nicotine addiction. It was habitual. It was, I wanted to fit in with everybody. It was all of those things combined. I mean, I remember I used to say, yeah, quitting smoking is easy. I've done it loads, which is it's a true line. I think on previous occasions when I'd really thought about quitting was essentially because of the kids. I've got 2 young kids, and I just remember being really, there was one night in particular where I was actually waiting for them to go to bed so I could have a cigarette outside. And I remember thinking, I'm wishing my life away here. This is dreadful. I'm actually willing my children to be asleep so I can go and do this ridiculous thing to myself. And that was a real kind of slap around the chops. I think the difficult thing about smoking is obviously the withdrawal from the mental side and the nicotine. But if you can tell yourself that it's all just a trick, if you can remove the mental side and you realise that essentially every cigarette you have doesn't really give you a high, but you're really not. What you're actually getting is you're returning to where a non-smoker just felt already. And you're actually going into a deficit prior to that. The withdrawal pangs that you get from the nicotine leaving your system makes you feel irritable. And it's a very subtle thing, but you don't really understand it. But you just know you don't feel great, and then a cigarette actually then gives you that bang. But you're not really going high, you're just returning to zero. You don't realise that your taste buds have been seriously affected. So I remember once I was having a meal in a restaurant one lunchtime with a friend, and I was tucking into my food, and I was like, oh my God, this tastes gorgeous. This is so tangy. This is so delicious. I've got a mouth explosion going on. What is it? It's a boiled potato. And that was one thing for me. Well, I absolutely love that. Food, genuinely, tasted 1,000 times better. But I feel like I want to spread the message about how good it is not to smoke. And if I could do it, you know, loads of other people can do it. It doesn't ever make you feel better. You just felt worse because of the withdrawal pangs of the last cigarette you had, and so you're stuck in this cycle. You will never feel better having a cigarette than a non-smoker would have felt anyway. It really is possible for anyone to give up smoking.